Hi, it's Hannah Mason here, and welcome to the Vitality Show. I'm so excited for today's session because I've had the opportunity since my visit to Mexico in January, February time to have built a beautiful relationship with today's guest. Her name is Danya Nissan, and she lives in Mexico City and is a coach herself. And I've watched her build her practice and absolutely flourish along the way. And one of the things that has been absolutely amazing about getting to go to Mexico is seeing how much viv and vigor and color the Mexican community has and how they welcomed me with open arms. And this very much includes Danya. So I'm so excited to bring her light and her enthusiasm for life into the show, where she's going to share with us some of her principles for wellness. See you soon. Danya, welcome. It's so great to have you here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for welcoming me. Hi.
So Danya, I really love to learn about people's stories. So I was wondering if you could tell us, how did you get to this point now where you're a coach?
Yes, so it started when I was a teenager. I struggled a lot with food. I struggled a lot with body image. Everything was comparison, like why would the other women look like this, or how come they get to go on dates, or like this kind of thinking. And so I decided that I needed to go inside and see what's happening inside of me. What was my life about? Who was I? Why was I so sensitive? Because I understood that ever since I was little, I was very sensitive to things, to grasping, to embodiment. So I started to study yoga. Yoga is a practice that helps me embody my body. Dancing as well. Dancing is something that I do, not from choreography, but from movement, just putting music and just moving with the music, moving with the flow, moving when it's drums, I just yell and put it out all out, or just come back home, come back to my center. And then I also decided that I wanted to study integrative nutrition, like the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and understand that I am a whole being, not just parts of me. I am a whole being. My surroundings matter, my friendships matter, my relationships matter, what I'm feeling matters, my emotions matter, my vision matters, my creativity matters, the light within me matters. And all of this has an impact on the relationship I have towards myself, the relationship I had towards my body, towards food, towards how I welcome that food inside of me. And so a shift started to happen, and I started to feel more at home, more safe, to build more confidence, even in the universe, in the people, in the choices I make, in the food I put in my mouth, and enjoying life, allowing myself to be more and less to constrict or restrict myself, because I started dieting since I was 12 years old. And now it's like, no diets, like just listen to your body. What does it need? How can you nourish it? How can you be with it? What is your relationship towards yourself? How are you speaking to yourself? What's your inner dialogue? What is your beliefs? So, yes.
Okay, so I have a question for you. There's a word that you used a few times, and I know some people use that word a lot, and there are a lot of people who use that word pretty much never. So I was wondering if you could explain to us what you mean when you say embodiment.
Yeah, this is a word that it doesn't have a translation in Spanish. So I love to say embodiment. It doesn't have, like in Spanish is encarnar, which is awful. It's an awful word. in English, it's like embodiment. It's like make it yours. Make it yours. Like really, really embody it. Really walk the talk. Really make it yours. Feel it here, not just in an intellectual way, not just in an intellectual manner where you understand it, but you live it, you feel it. You say, okay, what is it that I really need right now? What is it that I'm hungry for? What is it that I crave for? Because also our cravings for life, our cravings for love, our cravings for rest, our cravings for creativity, our cravings for play, our cravings for movement. And I think this is what embodiment means. to be
So
in tune.
can you sort of build a bridge? You were talking about how you were struggling with all these different things, and then you started to do yoga.
Yes.
And what did doing yoga do for you? If you could sort of slow it down for us a little bit.
Yes, of course. So when I started doing yoga, I was 16 years old. It was just before the Shnat Akshara, the year that we go abroad for a year or 6 months. And I didn't know what to do. So my mom said, you go to a yoga class. And I had a beautiful teacher, and she was so aware, she was listening, and I sat with her and I spoke to her a few things, just one time, that's it. And something clicked inside of me. Then at 21 years old, I went to live abroad to Australia for a year, and I started doing yoga and dancing as well. That was my center. And at that time, I decided that I wanted to go more, to understand more about the body. And every time I went...
Rewind. What did yoga do? Like, if you could sort of think about what drew you to yoga, and while you were doing yoga, how did that help you?
It helped me to become... It was very uncomfortable, to tell you the truth, at the beginning. Very uncomfortable.
Why? I
was in the postures, and I don't want to feel. That was what was coming up. Like, I didn't want to feel. I wanted to numb myself. I didn't want to go deep. And every time I pulled my hands up or down or went into an uncomfortable posture, oftentimes I cried. And this crying was what led me to freedom, like to the other way, to heal, to allow healing to happen. And so
it's like you hadn't cut your body off from here down.
Yes.
You were starting to actually feel
that
you had hands and feet. And
yes.
So one of the things I notice in my work is I spend so much time helping people feel this. Like, we spend so much time up here. Our entire academic education teaches us to think that this is who we are. And then our body's trying to tell us stuff and we don't know how to listen to it.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're saying you go to Australia and you're doing yoga and you start connecting to your body more, and that makes you hungry for what?
And that makes me hungry to understand that I am like nature, that I don't have to go, like, nature moves, nature, it shakes, it trembles, it will collapse if it needs to, it will reassemble itself, it does what it does. So does the body. So I started to understand that I am nature, that my body has nature in it, and it will move, it will destroy if it needs to, it will swallow if it needs to heal itself, it will come back to its natural place. And I started to relate to food and to my body in that way. And it took years. It's not just like I'm speaking to you right now, as if it was like it took years, it's a process. It's a process of understanding. It's a process of noticing the thoughts that arise when you're sitting having a meal. It's noticing the thoughts that arise when you're feeling uncomfortable in your own skin. It's noticing the emotions that arise when you're not, like, when you're feeling disconnected, or I don't know if the word is afflicted, but yes, just here and not here. And
can you give me an example of that? So, like, you've got this dish of food in front of you, and can you give us an example of like what might have come up for you?
Of course I can. In the festivities we have, my family loves doing huge meals, huge. There's so many plates. There is a rice, and there is a beans, and there is a chicken. I know, this is a vegan place, but still, there's like everything. There's so many plates. And I noticed that I used to go there and I used to see the food as my enemy. It's like, no, I cannot eat that. No, I cannot eat that. No, I cannot eat that. No, there is so much food. No, my body will not receive it. And it was a struggle. From days before, I already started struggling for the day that I arrived to that meal. So those were the thoughts that arise, like, I cannot eat this. I will not. What will people think of me if I eat the dessert? Why would I eat the dessert? I don't deserve to eat. I don't deserve to feel good. I don't deserve to nourish myself. These kind of thoughts were the thoughts that arise before going to a meal. And people are watching me. People are looking at me while I eat. I'm not pretty. Why would I eat? Like this thinking.
Whew, that's a heavy meal. It's like,
Yes,
I'm
that's
already
a very
full just
heavy
from
meal.
that.
Yeah, no, completely, exactly. Yes, 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 yes.
You could just eat those thoughts and then your stomach's like so bloated, it can't fit anything else.
Yes, this is the thing. This is the thing. We eat what we're thinking. We eat ideas. We eat messages. We eat what we're saying. We eat our inner dialogue. So we're shifting that as well. It's like food is not your enemy. Food is food. Food is beautiful. Food is energy. Food has so many so much value. Food from the earth, from food from the trees, fruit from it's food. It's beautiful.
So can you sort of bridge that to where you are now, where you're now teaching other people about these processes, and you wanted to call this session 7 Principles for Wellness. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about these principles, and we're going to go one by one. And so just tell me the first one, and I'm probably going to ask you questions because I love to ask questions. So tell us about your first principle.
Okay, so yes, it's about wellness coming from the inside out, not so much from the outside in. And the first principle is it's about the vision we have for ourselves, the vision we have. I don't know, maybe my vision was to feel better, to feel safe, to feel better with my own skin, to feel beautiful, to know that I am beautiful, to build that relationship, right? That was my vision. So this is the first step that I took in as the wellness, like the 7 principles for wellness, the first one. And it's for inner, it comes from the inside. And also what's the vision that the universe has for you? The universe, God, source.
Opposed to like, what the magazines say I'm supposed to be, or what society says I'm supposed to be. It's like really learning to listen to myself. Yes. Who is it that, what is it? What's my vision for wellness? And that vision might take time to manifest, I would imagine. Like, it's not just something that can happen next week.
No, exactly. Or yes, maybe, but it takes time usually.
Okay, so give us principle number 2.
Principle number 2 is trust and confidence. Also, like, when we're told so many times as little kids what to do or what not to do, or don't do this, don't do that, don't say this, don't say that. So we start somehow also blocking our own trust and confidence and our own voices. So coming back to that, to in which way I can build trust and confidence in myself, in my own voice, in my own needs, and what I want for myself and what I want for life. And that doesn't mean you have to be selfish, because every relationship starts with you. And if it starts with you, you can only give the other what you can give to yourself, what you know about yourself too. So it's building trust and confidence in you. And again, I bring the universe, I bring God, I bring the source, because it's part of it. It's part of the process. It's not like, it's part of what has been also for me a huge step in my process.
So can you give me an example of like what that looks like if I trust and have confidence in myself, and I also am including the universe or God into that picture?
Yes, when a story of fear comes up, for example, I'm not enough, what will people say? Like, people wouldn't want to listen to me. And it comes up for me, it comes up still today, right? And it's part of the work that we've been doing, and it's part of the work that you do and I do. And it's like, okay, I release the story of fear, and I choose to see love in this, and I choose to encounter with the universe, and I choose the universe to support me in this.
Because you have a story about the universe that it's loving and good and supportive. And so if you have a fear story that comes up right away, you're like, okay, but that's not in alignment with the universal story that's going on. That's all good.
Exactly.
So, okay, so give us principle number 3.
Principle number 3, it's relationships. Relationships. I love something that we call the GPS. The GPS is like God, people, self. What is your relationship towards yourself? What is your relationship towards other people? What is your relationship towards God, source, universe? And I also include here your relationship in your work, your relationship towards money, your relationship towards food, relationships in general. So this principle is important because it's your circle of influence, and it's your circle of concern as well, as you call it in your book, right? Like, because you're all the time in relationship to it. We live with people in relationship. We grow in relationship. We create in relationship towards ourselves, towards people, towards the God, towards what we are going through. So this is principle number 3.
So does this include, something that Dave and I have been talking about is surrounding ourselves with people who encourage us to attach to higher thinking and don't bring us down, or have more of an abundance mindset and have like an adventurous approach to life. Is that part of what you're talking about?
It is. There is a saying that look around, look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that will lead you, that will tell you more about like your personality and what kind of frequency you're putting outside and what is it that you're feeling drawn to. So yes, it is part of it. And it's also part of how can I be of service to? How can I be of service to them? It's not just like what can they give me, but what can I give them?
So it's also getting myself out of being so focused on myself, but seeing myself as being of service.
Yes, too.
Okay, next principle. What are we on, 4?
Yes, we're on 4, nourishment. I love this principle.
So tell us about that.
So this principle is about asking yourself questions, having a relationship to you. How, like you said just right now, like if you're going to a friend and you're asking him, how are you? Don't ask him just, how are you? Like really be there, really listen. How are you? How are you feeling? How can I be like, what do you need to do today? How can I move my body today? What am I hungry for today? How can I nourish myself? What is it calling for? Do I need sweet? Do I need salty? Do I need hot? Do I need cold? What will nourish myself right now? You went on a vacation. Do I need time off media? What is it calling for right now to nourish myself? Time in nature, time for play, time to have fun, intuitive eating.
It's so interesting because I think about how when, my son comes home from school, right away I want to ask him, how are you doing? How did it go? And I have all these like questions that I want to ask him. And of course he's 15, so he's exactly at the age where he has no interest in these kinds of questions whatsoever. But I think about how when I see someone I know, I actually look forward to them asking me how I am. And I'm hoping that they're really going to listen to my response. And I get a little upset when somebody walks down the street in Israel. This happens a lot. Walks down the street, says, "Hey, how are you?" And they keep going.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean, right? In Hebrew, we say manishma, which is how is your soul doing, right? And that's supposed to be a question that awaits an answer, but they'll be like, manishma, and keep going, right? and I get like upset. And I just realized we expect other people to ask us about our welfare, but it feels kind of dorky to say, how am I today? If there's something kind of, our story is that it's kind of dorky, but actually the way you're talking about it, it's like, no, if I want other people to do this for me, then of course I have to do it for myself.
Yes.
That's the kindest thing I can do.
Yes.
Wow. So okay, so let's do 5, right? We're at 5.
5, and this is the ambiance. I don't know, is that how you call it? Ambiance.
I love that word. Go for it.
Yes, but it's basically your surroundings, your home, like your home, your physical surroundings is your home expressing yourself. Do you feel comfortable at home? Do you feel comfortable in the space you live in? Do you feel comfortable with the order you have? Or is there a mishmash also there? Is there is there something you would like to declutter? Is there an object you would like to declutter, to clean? Is there some clothing that you no longer use and that you need to clean and put outside also? and the messages we're constantly receiving. You mentioned at the beginning the magazines, social media. Right now there is so much information outside, so much with this everything on Zoom or everything on video. There's just too much oftentimes information. So what are we allowing to come inside of us? What are we allowing to come in our circle of influence, in our frequency, in our energy? What are the messages that we're constantly exposed to? Are these messages from the news or fatalist messages, or from songs and music or drama? All of this, right? So it's part of your inner and personal wellness. What are you exposed to physically and mentally, emotionally?
So it's interesting because it makes me think about how there are certain spaces that have lots and lots of rules. Like a yoga studio has all these rules about, like, you can't go in with your shoes and you can't play music and you have to turn your phone off. And like, there's all these rules about what can happen in the space and what can't. Or, like a synagogue or a church has like all these rules about what's appropriate and how you have to dress. And at home, we tend to not have so many rules, yet it's the place we spend the most time, especially during Corona. We're like here all the time. And what if we treated it as a sacred space and said, okay, I'm going to put really clear rules about what's welcome here and what's not welcome here.
Yes.
Wow. Yes. Okay, cool. So what's the next step?
So the sixth step is your consciousness. Where is your consciousness? Are you aware of your mindset? Are you aware of your energy? Are you aware of your spirituality? Are you aware of your presence while you're doing something? Like, for example, when you're cooking? Are you cooking? Are you really there? Or are you thinking, I need to call my friend and then my son is going to come. And then, oh my God, I forgot the dentist and I have an interview with Hannah Mason and I couldn't sleep. And like this, where is our consciousness? And this is I think this is one of the most important jobs, or mindset, because mind creates reality, mind over matter. Mind is beautiful. So where is our consciousness? Is it outside? Is it inside? Is it focused on I'm not going to say the wrong messages, but something that's going to nourish me and work for me in my highest good, in the highest good of all and everything? Or is it something that's going to go against it?
And I feel like there's so many forces out there trying to like suck our consciousness like a black hole, right? Like the politicians want to suck so much of our consciousness and social media wants to suck so much of our consciousness, and they would love for us to be asleep while they're driving the bus. And we're just kind of sitting in the back seat, laying on that really long back seat, and they could just take control of our lives and use our bodies however they want to accomplish whatever they want. And you're saying, no, like, are you driving your own bus?
Yes. Be the director of your movie.
Be the director of my movie. I like that, because I'm a director by training. So that works really, really well.
Yes, you are. Yes.
So tell us about the last principle.
The last principle is about joy. It's about leaning towards joy. This is a principle that I've come to face very much these days, because sometimes and oftentimes I find myself struggling and working through hustle and not joy, working through pushing myself, and you can make it, you can do it, do better, be better, like all this struggle inside of me. And it's like, where is the joy in what I do? Why am I obsessing so much about the result and not the process? How can I lean more towards joy in this situation? How can I lean more? Do I play music? Do I stop and just have 10 minutes of reset, walking, reading, dancing, and then come back? So this is something that I've been working on lately very much. Yes.
So can you give me, we got a question about the second principle.
Okay.
Right, this one about consciousness. And so Susie asked, is there a tool to train ourselves to be in the moment? And she wants to know if you believe that meditation helps.
I believe meditation helps. Yes, on a level of observation, on a level for like, yes, a level of observation, your mind. I believe also what helps is touching yourself, spending time, spending 3 minutes, 10 minutes, touching yourself, coming back home, feeling your body, feeling your senses. If you're going to eat fruit or food, something, smell it before you put it in your mouth, touch it, feel the texture, feel the presence of what's in your hands. And don't, like, you're going to say, yeah, it's an apple. You've grown with apples for all of your lives, but try it for the first time, as if it was for the first time. Smell it. What does it make you feel? How does it feel in your mouth? How does it feel to make a bite for the first time? And then just swallow it. And this is coming to the present moment. So it's normal that the mind wants to go to the future and wants to go to the past, because it's the natural, like, this is what nature is for the mind. It thinks. It cannot stop thinking. When you say, like, I'm going to meditate to put my mind in blank or in white, this is not true, okay? It cannot happen. You're going to sit because you want to become the observer of what's happening here. You want to become the observer of it's like the clouds. Your thinkings is like the clouds. You don't want to grasp the clouds, and this is what we do. We grasp them. We grasp the ideas. We grasp, I am this, I am that, I need to, I get to, I have to, I must, I need, again and again and again. And it's just being there as an observer and noticing what's happening. And each time you get, like, for the first time, maybe you forget and you leave your home. I'm going to say your body, yourself, your home, okay? You leave your home and maybe you're out of your home for 7 weeks. Then you start practicing and practicing and practicing mindfulness and practicing consciousness and practicing tools. And the next time you leave your home, you leave for 5 weeks and you continue practicing. And then you leave for 2 weeks, continue practicing, and then you leave for 1 week, come back, and then daily, you live daily, because we leave home daily. You live 30 minutes, 1 hour, come back. And it's not about you, like, it is about us being in the present, but it's a practice. This is a practice.
I keep touching my hands now. Like, I'm realizing how much, like, tension there is all over my body, and it just feels so good to do this.
Yes. And this is a great tool when we have anxiety, when we enter in a state of anxiety, of not knowing, of incertidumbre, how do you say, uncertainty, like touching yourself or an object if it feels uncomfortable, but it's part of the work. It makes you like, come back, like calm. It's a really great tool to calm anxiety.
Wow, beautiful. So if you could give us one last gift, because we're almost out of time, if you could give us one last gift, one last tool from your entire journey of, issues with food as a teenager, all the way. Oh, wow. Somebody wrote, she's washing the dishes and feeling the water. This is awesome. Great.
Yes.
So from your journey over the past decade plus, there's like, one tool that's just been absolute magic for you that you could share with us in addition to everything else you've been sharing.
Yes, this tool of constantly making space for little connections during the day towards myself. I love putting my hand in my heart and just feeling it and making myself present to the universe, to God, to love, to Akadosh Baruch Hu, like saying, here I am, here I am, here I am. This then leads to other things, like, what is it that I do? How can I nourish myself? What am I not doing? Also, it's not just what I am doing, it's what am I not doing as well.
I need to say, here I am, like I need to exist in order to then nourish myself. But first I need to just be.
Yes. So this is a tool that I would give you. Yeah. And
Thank
movement.
You so much. And movement. Got to keep the moving. That's why I start every single one of my classes with dancing.
Yes, movement also.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Danya, for your time. And thank you for joining us. And if people want to follow you and learn more about what you do, how can they find you?
So first of all, my Instagram is in Spanish. For you who speak
But we have a
Spanish.
lot of Spanish-speaking followers, so that's
Yeah,
cool.
yes, that's cool. It's yeah, you can follow me at Danya Nissan Coach, Danya Nissan Coach. That's my Instagram. My Facebook page is Danya Yoga and Wellness Coaching. Yes, and I can do like I also do one-on-one on English. This is something that's open. Also, if you're feeling called to do it, if you're feeling called to understand more about yourself, how can you nourish yourself? How can you understand also or declutter your mental thinking and situation and mindset? I'm open for it. Yes, that would do too, as
And
one-on-one.
so how do people find you that way?
Should I give you my email?
Yes.
It's Danya, Danya,
Yes.
.healthcoaching@gmail.com.
Amazing. I'm going to post that up also so that people can see it. So you're welcome to get in touch with Danya. You can find her on Instagram. You can also find her on Facebook. And if you speak Spanish, you'll do way, way, way better following her stuff. But if you only speak English and you want to get in touch with her to be more in touch with yourself, you're welcome to do so. And thank you, Danya, for being on the Vitality Show. And thank you, everyone in the audience. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Mwah.
Take care.